Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. It's Chris with Daily, and today is For Tuesday, so we're going to take a look at the knife I've been carrying, which is this GEC 81 pattern, and I'm going to stumble through kind of sharing a couple of these with you and attempting to read a little bit about the pattern or figure it out, but there's no real figuring it out. It is what it is. All right, so stick around and check out the video and tell me what you think of these knives. All right, guys. So I've been carrying this 81 this week that you saw on Stagger Day, and I've been carrying in this slip made by this gentleman named Quentin. I forget his last name. I feel bad. Anyway, he's a guy on a Facebook forum. Makes good slips. And I've been carrying this 81. This is an 81 pattern GEC in burnt stag, and it's just got great, very gnarly stag handles on it, and it also has this. Like, sometimes stag has like this different colored marble stuff going on, and it almost reminds me of like bone or something when it's polished out like that. It wears in over time, but this knife hasn't seen very much pocket time, only a few days. This 81 pattern by GEC is a serpentine 4-inch squared bolster design, and this one has this killer clip point blade on it. Now this is a blade delete, and this was originally a moose, and I deleted this spear point out of it, which is hopefully I'll be able to use this blade for another project. Something will come up that'll benefit from having that spear point blade in it with the long pull. Might be cool. Anyhow, this was a moose. So in 2017, these came out, and they came in this pattern, the moose, and then they also had a coon skinner like this guy up here. Hopefully I'll show something. And let's see, what else did they have? I don't think they made a Stockman that year. There's a Stockman that's a little bit older that's very sought after because they just didn't make a bunch of them, or they only made them 1 year. But this blade I found on a different 81 pattern, and it's this one here. This was the original 81 pattern that I got, that inspired me to go and try and find this other one. And this is what's called a Way North City Stock. And Way North is a company that does SFOs made by GEC. So a gentleman named Charlie Campagna, he's sort of he's a very avid knife collector, and he started he just started collecting GECs, but got very, very involved in it. And I don't know everything about him, but he's responsible for influencing GEC to make the TC Barlow, patterns like the TC Barlow. And then I know that he inspired them to make a few harness jack knives. I know that I think they did that in, 53 patterns and 85 patterns, some in 15, maybe not 15 patterns. Anyway, he's just an avid collector, and he's involved with the folks at GEC on, the next level of GEC collector that I'm not in. But I got this knife basically because I loved, I was attracted to the blade shape on this, but I loved the bone on it. It was really, really pretty. It's What's it called here? I've got the tube. Oh yeah. So it's called dark chestnut jig bone. This is 8112 2024. So this one was done in 2024, and it's the City Stockman pocket knife. And I'm going to get into a little bit about how it calls it a Stockman. So anyway, on the Charlie Campagna knives, he kind of goes into a little bit about what makes the pattern great, and I'm not going to read it. You can pause it if you want, but he just brings a lot of character to the knife collecting hobby. And if you'll look on this, it says Buffalo brand on it. Buffalo brand. Sorry, the tang is, there we go. We're getting the etch in there now. Buffalo brand is the etch, and on the tang stamp, it says, instead of Great Eastern Cutlery, it says Way North Cutlery, Buffalo, New York. And Way North is Charlie Campagna's brand. And on the back, it says Oil the Joints. And this bone I first saw on the 93 lamb's foot pattern, which was also his kind of inspiration. Like, I think he ordered that pattern, or them to make that knife blade. And I had one, and it had this bone on it. And anyway, this bone has just got a very impressive kind of vintage jigging pattern on it that, I don't know, you don't really see anymore. And then if you look at the shield, this is a shield inspired by the old knife company Empire Knife, I believe. And Empire Knife Company was produced somewhere in the vicinity of Buffalo, New York, like this. So like, that was just a knife maker in that region, and so it inspired him to use and bring back this old shield, which I don't know what that shield's called, to tell you the truth. If anyone knows, let me know, because it's sort of an interesting shape. It's not a bar shield. It's a little bit different. Yeah, so Buffalo brand is because he's from Buffalo, New York, and he puts this Oil the Joints on the back of the knives that are from Way North. And Oil the Joints is something that used to be on old Sheffield makers. I forget if it's was George Wostenholme, or if it was Rogers. God, now I'm forgetting. Not Jeffrey Rogers. Something Rogers. Anyways, sorry. Someone will chime in the comments. So anyways, there's a bunch of little like throwback elements that he incorporates into his knives, and it just kind of like gives color to collecting these knives, right? Like, you've got the shield that is referencing Empire knives. You've got Oil the Joints, which is referencing some Sheffield stuff. And I don't know. I just think that it's kind of cool. It adds something to the attraction of some of these old slip joint knives, and he has inspired GEC to make some patterns that weren't being made, like the lamb's foot blade, like the TC Barlow. I don't know if how many people were still making Barlows. I'm sure Case was, but he kind of inspired Barlows to kind of get on another hot streak. And as well as harness jacks, I guess, weren't really being made, and his influence with GEC kind of got them to pursue making that pattern again, of which I don't have a harness jack handy. But one thing I wanted to get into on this knife was, by all account, this is a serpentine square bolster, premium, what I would normally look at as a stock knife, but it's on one spring. So the Levin's guide that I'm always using as a reference shows a similar knife and says, and this is a smaller knife, but it's a serpentine double-end jackknife. And here, when I look in this book is about collecting and how to collect knives. And one of the pages here, if I can quickly get to it, part of the book that I flip to, it shows a ton of different patterns, and then it tells you where to look those patterns up. And so in two different places in here, we have knives that kind of fit this, okay? We've got, it says premium pen here, and then down here, we've got premium stock knife. So first, we're gonna go to page 216. And that's just kind of how this reference works and the process that I go through in, trying to figure out what the specifics of the knife I've got in hand are. And if we look here on page 216, this is serpentine pen knives and premium pen knives. And so as with serpentine jacks, the term serpentine pen knives includes all more or less S-curve pen knives, whether tapered or equal in or nearly so. Serpentine pen knives are two-blade versions of the junior premium stock knife, so they are often called premium pen knives. Most premium pen knives, like stock knives, have clip master blades. As with stock knives, premium pen knives come in both round in and square in versions. Now I'm going to skip it. It talks about a couple different other versions of this, but down here it says, if the second blade of a double-ended serpentine knife is anything other than a pen blade or a nail file, for example, a spay, a spear, or a punch, then the knife is considered a double-ended jackknife rather than a pen knife. And this has a spay. So, by the Levin's guide, right? This is a double-ended jackknife rather than a Stockman. But you see city stock here, Stockman pocket knife, right? Clearly on the tube. And GEC knows what they're making. And Charlie Campagna is a much more knowledgeable collector than I'll ever be. So why the discrepancy? So I switch over here to the page premium stock knives. And it says here, the premium stock knife is a serpentine-shaped double-ended pocket knife that ordinarily has 2 springs and 3 blades. Some stock knives have 4 blades, and a few have 5 blades or even 6. 5 and 6 bladed stock knives have 3 springs. Some stock knife under 3.5 inches long close is called a junior premium stock knife. So what I gather from this, discrepancy is that, like the reference to the to Empire with this old shield, and the reference to the Sheffield knife with this old saying on the tang stamp of oil the joints. When it says city stock, it's just a reference, like they're just making reference to something of the past, as opposed to being instead of being so literal, right? I'm kind of like being extremely picky and getting in the weeds with like how to classify or not classify something. But it says here, designed to serve a city lifestyle or be appropriate for ranch duties and maybe buffalo hunting. Haha. This may be the only knife you will ever need in your pocket. Made slim to be a less obtrusive carry, this knife requires the advanced cutlery engineering to use only one spring for 2 blades. So that's what it is. It's a stock knife and it's a pen knife, and because a pen knife is something a little bit sleeker and usually smaller and meant to be carried daily, and a stock knife is something that's usually slightly larger, and so it's actually both at the same time, and there isn't anything incorrect. It's just a nickname, the city stock, as it points out there. But I will say that it's stuff like that just kind of keeps me interested in these knives. And one of the reasons that I think GEC is cool is because of all of the kind of appreciation or callback to some of the old, elements or history of knife making, and just makes the collecting of these knives that much more interesting and fun. So I just wanted to show you guys a couple of knives, 2 for Tuesday, and tell me what you guys think. Do you guys prefer one or the other? Do you have any 81 patterns? Tell me what you think of these guys. All right, I'll look forward to reading the comments. And this is an Eastgate point. And there's something about the notches to Eastgate notch maybe, but I know it's an Eastgate point. They're done by Michael over at Red Eye Patriot.